Change your stratagem keybinds to your arrow keys in order to stay on the move while calling them in. Constantly moving is your #1 defense to literally everything in this game, even yourself. So move those Tekken combos on over to anything but your moving keybinds. Speaking of defense, using high ground and breaking line of sight. If you cannot move, these are your next best options. For both bots and bugs, being on a slight incline will drastically improve your overall survivability as well. The AI is not the smartest. Same idea with breaking line of sight. Have a massive Bio Titan constantly dropping your Helldivers life expectancy to Warhammer 40k levels, run away and break line of sight. Moving even 30 or 40 meters away from things should be enough, provided there are at least a few pieces of cover between you and the target, such as bushes or rocks. And oh yeah, rocks, use them all the time. They can't blow up. I can almost guarantee that if you're struggling to survive, doing those 3 things, high ground, line of sight, and rocks, will skyrocket your chances of living. In terms of difficulty specific tips, well, all it really comes down to is what loadout you choose to bring with you. And your loadouts are determined by your overall level. Put 2 and 2 together, and this means that the difficulty that you play on should be dictated by your overall level, given the transitive property or something like that. I don't know, I ain't no mathematician. Here's what I recommend. If you're under level 10, stick to difficulty 5 maximum. Find whatever sweet spot feels the best for your group's playstyle and stick to it until you all level up a bit more. Once you reach level 10 or above, playing on difficulty 6 or 7 is ideal, especially for farming purposes, but you can go all the way up to 9 technically with the equipment and strategies available to you at this point. So if you and your boys are really feeling a challenge, bump that difficulty on up to 9 and good luck. But realistically, I would recommend staying away from difficulties 8 and 9 until you reach level 20 and get the good stuff. Unfortunately, your own skill will only take you so far in Helldivers 2, at least in the current state. Once you start seeing Chargers, Bio-Titans, tanks, and Hulks out the wazoo, there is quite literally nothing you can do if you're not properly equipped. Hopefully, this dynamic shifts a bit in the upcoming balance updates, such as giving us more options to deal with armored targets, as I really cannot overstate the impact that upping the difficulty has on these tankier threats spawning. And if you didn't know, raising the difficulty does not increase enemy health or damage, it simply raises the amount of enemies and the chance of harder ones spawning. That's it. Higher difficulty equals more enemies, and the enemies that show up are harder. Also, fun fact, your group size does not have a 1-to-1 impact on enemy spawns. Playing in a 4-man party does not yield 4 times more enemies than playing solo. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is if you choose difficulty 6 and above, then you better be ready. Which, thankfully, being ready basically equates to, did you bring enough armor piercing? So, here you go. Expendable anti-tank, autocannon, railgun, orbital precision, orbital laser, orbital rail cannon, Eagle 110, Eagle 500 kilo, mortar sentry, and autocannon sentry. Now, these are not your only options to deal with the big boys, but they are by far your best ones. However, the 3 support weapons, railgun, autocannon, and expendable anti-tank, are your bread and butter. Using one of these 3 weapons, just aim for the enemy's weak spot and press your fire button. Pretty much is that simple. The vast majority of enemy weak spots are simply their heads, who would have thought, but these guys have it on their backs, and this guy has another one if you pop his legs off. As for the other things in your loadout, well, you pretty much have the illusion of choice here. Sure, you can use whatever you want, but if you're not rocking the breaker shotgun, you're basically trolling. In the current state of the game, before the first balance patch has even happened yet, there is literally one reason to not use the breaker shotty. You haven't unlocked it yet, and until you unlock it, I recommend the default AR or the Diligence DMR. Your secondary weapon does not really matter, but the machine pistol performs noticeably better than the others. Same deal with the grenade. Impact grenade is very good, but you really can't go wrong with any choice. For your armor, well, it's bugged. Armor rating literally does nothing in the current state of the game, so simply take whatever set you think looks cool. But if you want to min-max, take something with a useful modifier, such as reduced enemy detection radius or 50% chance to survive lethal damage. But if you're in doubt, just choose scout armor for the movement speed. Finally, and the last thing I'll leave you with, is remember that you do not have to fight each and every encounter that you find. If you're struggling in Helldivers 2, it is almost certainly because you're getting swarmed too often. Getting swarmed at some point is a guarantee, but it is up to you to control how often that happens. And the best way to do that is to ignore stuff. But Mr. Streamer, how am I gonna get all this shiny loot and upgrade my ship with simple? By resetting and playing another run. Stop scouring every last nook and cranny of the map just to find 6 more common samples. Get the heck out of there and reset. Also, you guys, you know you don't have to actually stay on the computer screens, right? You can just press your interact key and leave the screen once you input the command. I'll do my best to answer each and every one of your questions in the comments below. You can also stop by my stream at twitch.tv/WoolieGaming if you'd like to see some solo max difficulty gameplay in action. Thank you for watching. Eagle!